Welcome back, Ranger Nation, to another Raw review. And what are we Raw reviewing? Well, as you can probably guess, it's the counterpart to the Q-Rex. So let's take a quick look at the box first. This is GoujyuJin. And of course, box cutter ranger comes out to open up the box. Little slit on top. What do we see when we open the box? The box ranger. Well, we set the box aside. Got the instructions with the Gold Ranger anchor key. And it's actually a pretty nice gold too. Let's pull that out. I do not have the actual Japanese key. I don't have, the Gokai Cellular just yet. That's the deluxe key. Here's our box, which has the main component here. So far looking very similar to the US in terms of the build items, with the exception of the Zord builder ports. There's our main body. This one coming in Zord mode with a Dino mode like the US version. We just throw that arm on there. Tail, the other arm. Let's throw that on there. Throw that on there. Our two little dino arms, which have individual articulation. Okay. Fancy that. Which has no real place to put them aside from spinning it around and possibly attaching them on the back here. Spin them around to the front. Open up the wingtips. You'll notice it's back here. There's some articulation on that, but we'll look at the articulation in a bit. So you see there's a little thing here you can use to turn up the various items. You have to twist these manually, so it's a manual crank. And it makes those turn. Anyway, moving on. What's the articulation we have in this mode? We have got a single hinge joint for the foot here. About 90 degrees on the knee. It's actually very nice for a Transformer toy, basically. We've got a hinge joint here. So we've got a double hinge joint down the foot. The foot itself articulates, see? And then there's actually this, which is separate from the articulation on the foot. And the knee's got 90 degrees. The hip can't go back. It's stopped by these butt caps. But can go forward. So you've got some nice range of motion. You can technically bring it out. Technically, I say, but that breaks the transformation quite obviously. But you can do that. No waist articulation. 360 degree rotation on the arm. You can turn this, but it's really just for the gimmick in the back, which makes that spin. You can of course flip it up to reveal the fist for the combo mode. Since I don't have Mahalkin, I can't do that. This can of course open up. You to open up, but it's a little sticky. There we go. So you can get the spear mode, the trident, the shield, whatever you want to call it. Whoa. That was unintentional. But yes, you can. It's a little tricky because of the way the hinge is made, but you can actually put it in that form. So let us then look at him in his Dino mode, which really isn't that hard. Same like in the American one, you just fold the head down and it folds into there. It's a little sticky. I'm not sure which one of the little swinging hinge joint here to put on the head. Now they look like Zord Builder, but they're too big for Zord Builder. They are standardized for the various ports on here, so you could do some weird combos if you wanted, such as that. No comments, audience. I know what it looks like. Of course, if you want him in Dino mode, adjust the legs in the same way. Take the claws that we had previously mounted on the back, and we mount them here. Mounted them backwards because the arms themselves have quite a bit of articulation. You have about a 90-degree articulation on that one joint. Then there's this separate, well, it's not really a joint, but it kind of looks like a joint, but it's not really one. You have separate articulation on the claws. They're tricky to pull apart. And of course, we need to swing him around. Stick his tail down here in the port here. Do it a few different ways. You can see these still swing out to be used as shoulder pads. Which I probably should have done, but I didn't. Anyway, with it in this formation, just take it on. Which is not easy. Got that same type of hinged joint here for the tail. Not easy to work with. There we go. Kind of, sort of in there. That's fine. That'll do for now. So we got the tracheotomy, but it sits deep enough down in there you don't really see the tracheotomy. Of course, you can't really tilt the head because of the mechanics in it that makes it spin around. But of course, you can open up the mouth a little, but it kind of springs back. Put it down too far in one direction, it'll kind of spring. So you can only get so much movement out of the mouth. And there you go. There he is in Dino mode. Obviously, the next logical thing is to put him into his ship mode. So we'll take off the arms. We'll break the transformation. You'll see there's a port here, just like with the American one, except that this actually swings around instead of it actually being taken off. Personally, I think it's better when it's taken off. A little bit cleaner that way. the head out of the socket. The tail in there. I am trying to get this thing to lock down properly. There we go. Now it's properly locked in. There's a little button in here which helps it lock into place. You can actually see, it's actually pretty intuitive, so there's little wheels you can spin down here. So obviously you want to stick it in like that so that the wheels help support it. I'm going to fold these caps away. These little butt caps I was showing you before, you can fold them away. If I'm not mistaken, I actually think this is the proper way of doing it. Why do I say that, you wonder? Well, mainly for no particular reason. I mean, this can be the cockpit, but no, just personal preference, I don't know. Up to you. How you want to do it. So there he is sitting there. Since there are little caster wheels on the dyno legs, we're going to stick them down here. See? Lock one in place. Lock the other in place. You can swing the little arms however you like, or however you want in order for it to get the best traction point. I'll leave them like that. Then we take our little tracheotomy victim, and in this case we're probably going to have to switch this around, pop it up, swing it around, stay down there, crazy head. Stick it in, and there you have got it in drill mode. And honestly, it's good for what it is. It has a few extra gimmicks. But like I said, I think the domestic import is just as good. I will pause the camera for just a moment and bring it out and show you the two side by side. So we'll be right back. And we are back. As you can see, I still have the American one in what I like to call GoujyuJin formation. But as you can see, they're about the same height. The American one's a little bit shorter. I have them both standing straight up. There's a little bit less paint apps, but honestly, you know, they're about comparable in terms of ports, where everything is, everything it can do. Obviously, it does actually have proper dyno arms, but I didn't feel like disassembling GoujyuJin formation here. It has the same ports in the back. They both have the articulated head spleen. They both have the head that flips out. So, I mean, honestly, like I said before, they, on their own merits, this one's perfectly good, that one's perfectly good, this will cost you a bit less. And if you want to paint it, you can paint it. So those are my thoughts and opinions. This has no real advantages over this, aside from a few better paint apps and a little bit larger size, and some tiny mechanical stuff, like the rotation gimmick here. I mean, granted, you could also say, the one other advantage it does have is that this can open up, but really it's pretty minor points for the price point difference. You could spend, what, $100 on this versus $40 on this, and the only thing you really lose is that. So tell me, is $50 worth it for that? I'll leave you on that note. Peace out, Ranger Nation. This has been another Raw Review.